No, we gotta get B-roll.
You got what?
We gotta get B-roll.
B-roll.
Yeah. How you guys doing?
B-roll. How? On the sidewalk?
Yeah. And just some sidewalk B-roll.
I'm a little bit interested in filmmaking, so I'm just wondering. You know.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So we're trying to get some city slickers in the background. We're just getting.
Okay, all right.
Some B-roll. Out there. All right, you two guys. Good luck out there. Tight lines. Hold at a 45-degree angle. You want to do a 45-degree angle as you do it, because if the bobber, the distance has got to be at least, I'd say about 3 feet for your backing, because it's called backing. So like the distance between the front of that and then the rugs. Yeah, but so it's called backing. You want it to be.
A little bit.
I'm sorry, little mom. You talking to us?
Get away from my front of my store.
What's that?
The police are coming. Get away from my store.
You said police?
They're coming. I'm filming you. Get away from.
Oh, you're filming. Perfect. We're doing a fishing show. Come on. 5 degrees, right? If the rod's all the way up here, Frank, listen to me. I don't ever want to see you reeling on the way up. We got to show.
The woman literally is afraid to leave.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. She's afraid of fish. Okay, so 45 degrees.
I used to be.
Listen to me. It needs to be 45. Perfect.
Drop it down there like that.
Yeah, put it right there.
Drop it on there.
Bobber dance. Make that bobber dance. Stay right there. And then I want you to practice that 45-degree angle. 45 degrees. You're going too low again. You're going too low again. I want you to keep it 45. I want you to keep it 45. Because think about it. If you're right here, as opposed to if you're right here, remember what I told you about being right up here?
I can tell you again.
Because if you're right here, then what's going to happen? Oh, sorry, we're doing a fishing show right now.
I don't care what you're doing. Move from the front.
No, I just got to get this shot real quick. All right, so remember,
move from the front of the store.
Thank you. I want you to keep it like this.
Move from the front of the store.
Oh, so we're just doing a fishing show.
Move from the front of the store.
Because if it's too high, you know what happens, right? They'll just pull it right out of the fish's mouth.
Right, 11. Send me another car.
So I want you to have it here.
Move from the front of the store.
Remember, Frank, 45-degree angle, because that's going to be the most powerful. I mean, think about it. Whether it's a little sunfish, and then bring it up. There we go. There we go. Yeah, do it again. Do it again. Yeah, there we go. And then.
We're gonna go up there like that.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, there we go. Nice and slow. Reel on the way down. That's a swordfish. All right, now go. I want you to go lower. If you got a swordfish on, hey guys, we're in the middle of a fishing lesson right now. Oh, yeah, we're doing a fishing lesson. Yeah, we did. How you doing?
Good, I'm good, man. Listen, remember last week I explained that I don't care what you do, that if you're recording, as long as you're not blocking the entrances.
Yeah, so that's what we're doing. We're not doing anything.
All right, well they got a recording of you right in front of their entrance recording, so at that point they have the right to sign a complaint.
No.
They're
on the sidewalk, and they were not blocking the door. The lady could laugh. She was just being a Karen.
Yep.
Try again.
I'm laughing at the part that he's giving them a fishing pole. He's teaching them how to.
That's the best part of 2 or 3.
If I was them cops, I would have just ignored him and let him stay there. Cause it don't make sense.
Can't even badge number.
Arguing with him.
Mr. Carla, 140, you need something.
Why even bring out 5 more cars or another car?
He's not breaking no laws, so there's no need to be even interacting with him. It looked more funny and crazy. He like go. This is how you catch him. Go low, go high, keep out of angle. It's funny, and the cops are stupid.
Yeah, I know. Very funny. Okay, I'll be back. Last video.
No, I don't need anything.
Are you looking for the door or anything? Or do you need to get inside or something?
Oh, no, I don't need anything.
Oh, all right. Well, this is a personal lot for police vehicles now open to the public, please. So if you want to use the sidewalk, you can take as many videos as you want from the sidewalk right there.
Can you show me where it says that it's for police?
Home police officers in this quarter, police deputy chief. This is marked for our police vehicles only, please. Okay?
Yeah, but it's open to the public.
We try not to let anybody walk through and go into the vehicles. Okay?
Yeah, I'm just checking on the taxpayer-funded vehicles. That's all I'm doing, Officer Carletta.
You can do that all the way around the sidewalk if you want to.
I can freely do it here. This is open to the public, ma'am.
Is there anything you have questions about that you need help with?
No, I'm just checking out the vehicles. That's all. I'm just checking out the vehicles.
Any questions about the vehicles?
No. I'm just checking them out.
Just go back to
That's it. Nothing sinister going on here.
And what's your name?
My first name's Sean.
Hi, Sean. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Officer Carletta.
Thanks. Have a good day.
You too. Thank you. Slow night tonight, Officer Carletta. Not
She's
always,
sitting
but
there
today, yeah, right?
bodyguarding the cars because he's gonna take off in them.
Because you're just standing there.
Well, unfortunately, we've got a lot of people try to vandalize our cars and use vandalization against us. So
People would vandal. You know what's funny? I've been to a lot of police parking lots, and they tell me the same thing.
cars have been vandalized. Our building.
I couldn't believe somebody would be so stupid as to vandalize police cars in a parking lot of the police station.
They vandalized the building.
I mean, I don't see how people could be so dumb, but
People do crazy things.
I mean, I believe it. People do crazy things. I definitely believe that.
Are you from Rome?
I'm not from the area. No, I'm just checking out the city here on business. That's all. But yeah, I find it hard to believe that every single police department I go to, that they would all.
Where else have you been?
All over the country. All over the country. Yeah. I just take a look at the vehicles, see the different kinds, make sure the tread's good. If they're bad, report it to somebody.
We've got pretty good maintenance department that stays very, very on top.
Yeah, some of them, I'll see some that are, and that's a liability not only for the officer's safety, but to the city, because you get into an accident, it's not coming out of your pocket, so you hurt somebody. So I like to make sure everything's all right there.
Well, I appreciate at least somebody, cares that much about and understands that, like we're in our vehicles 24/7. You know what I mean? And it's not just a car; it's our office.
Yeah, for sure.
So I appreciate that somebody thinks more of them than just normal cars.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you guys basically live in those things.
We do.
So
I get very upset when the guys I ride in the car with, they eat and they make a mess. We gotta keep it clean. You live
Oh,
in
so you
that
guys
thing.
share vehicles here?
We do. We do.
Oh,
so
okay.
each shift, you have a person you share your car with.
Wow. What do you guys think?
She did a turnaround, even though she should have just left him alone.
Yeah. You have any videos? I'm done. I don't know.
It's 61. Bitch. I do kind of. Yeah, let me find it real quick though.
Okay.
Yeah, because it goes really good and it's on my channel.
Hey, 71.
$71. Where is it? Where is it? And I have so many shorts. It's not even funny.
Every time I type in the chat, it's like doubling everything I say.
No, it's normal.
Yeah, because I put mine and you're.
Because Red Side is sharing me. That's why.
Hello, everybody.
Ah!
Did you see her hair? It's so beautiful.
Thank you. It's crazy. I just took my son tried to comb it.
Okay, thank you, Liberty, for coming in. Thank you. Yeah, old Mitch. What's up, Mountain June? What's up, Kid Crew? Okay.
Later, Blair. Ooh, what is that? My eyesight is bad.
First Amendment. So in Arizona.
Huh?
Actually, it's the Bill of Rights. So in Arizona, downtown Phoenix, we have hey George, what's up? We have pillars that have all the amendments on them.
Hey, Angie.
What's up, Angel?
Angie, sorry.
It's
Hello,
Angel.
71. Please forgive me, Angie.
You going? You going?
No, that's
Angie?
Andrew. That's Andrew. I know what I'm talking.
No,
No, that's
yeah,
Andrew.
Angel.
Andrew. Yeah, I was on his. Yeah, I was on his.
That's Gregory. Gregory did it.
All right, he got me calling you Angie.
Hi, Angie.
What's up, Angel?
Hello, George. How are you? Hello,
Hey,
Briscoe.
George.
How's the dogs? Hello, 71. How are you?
Yes.
How's y'all weekend
Hey.
going? Don't ask me mine because I didn't even knew it was the weekend.
Yeah,
What's up,
son.
Sean? Jinx, you owe me a Coke and I don't drink it, so you got to drink it.
Hello, Sean Little. Hello,
What's up,
good citizen.
Media? How you
Citizen
doing?
Media, what's up? So yeah, so I don't know if you guys know the Bill of Rights, the first 10. There's actually 28, I believe, amendments that
27.
they've added. Is it 27?
Yeah.
I thought it was 28, but yeah. I know the 25th is to not impeach. The 25th is to have the vice president take over if something happens to the president, he becomes liberated or he gets shot in the head or
Okay.
that kind of stuff. So.
And okay, if the vice president can't take it anymore, who's next?
The Speaker of the House, right?
Yeah, very good. Because I checked this morning. You know.
Oh.
Yeah. You're very good. Yeah.
I know a little bit.
What is the top 5 of the Bill of Rights?
The First Amendment. The First Amendment. It's
Yeah.
right there on the screen.
Yeah, I know. It's the Bible.
No, not the Bible.
Freedom of speech.
You mean religion?
Yeah.
So there's an acronym. It's RAPS.
Yeah, RAPS.
It's RAPS. Religion, assembly, press,
freedom of speech,
petition,
the petition,
and speech,
and Angie.
and Angie. Angel.
Yeah. Okay.
Angel.
Angie. Yes.
But yeah, they're all right there in the screen. So really what I'm just playing is my shorts. They do have sound, so I can turn the sound off, but I know Gregory, you're not monetized, so I could turn the sound off, but it does have songs.
Oh no. Okay, go on.
We'll just do it without. I mean, it's just the song is Fight for Your Rights.
How come it's backwards?
What do you mean?
Okay. Thank you for that link. Thank you, Angel.
And we can read it. I mean, or you can pause it and read it yourself. But the second one is to bear arms. Oh, I passed the third one. Oh, it's second, third, and fourth on this one.
Go to the YouTube. They have a video on it too on YouTube. Type.
Yeah, we can do it that way. It might be better.
Type in the 22nd commandment. It will give you all different. You know, it will tell you what it is. You know.
Yeah. But I want the shortest video and the easiest to teach us.
Yeah, called 27 committed quiz. Type in quiz.
Well, we're not gonna do all 27. We're gonna do the first 10.
Okay.
Yeah, because the first 10 are the ones that they wrote back in the day. The other ones are just the other ones has just been slowly implemented. This one's 3 minutes. We can do this one.
Okay. We could stop it and discuss it little by little, you know?
Yeah. Sure can. I like Ted.
Oh, where's eyes? Huh.
Did she drop?
Yeah. Thank you for
Did we lose her?
coming. Yeah.
Oh.
No, I think they have to go. I don't know. Remember, she's 3 hours difference from us.
Oh yeah. It's
Hey, movie
midnight
fan.
then. 11 o'clock already.
Yeah.
That's why I haven't heard from Lemmy. What do y'all think about the cloud seeding back for firing?
Oh,
I mean, it
the
happened.
music. The music.
That's why we don't play. We don't play with. We don't act like we're God. We have cloud seedings here in Arizona. It's off the 303, and people don't understand it, that they're doing that right now. They're playing with. They're playing with the. And then if anybody wonders why they're sick this weekend or when it's coming up, it's because they're feeding it to us. You should be showing him what women like so he can finally get laid. No, we're not doing that.
Okay, Ted Ed. Huh.
What's up, Veronica?
The Bill of Rights. 200
Years ago.
10 amendments of our.
Number 1, freedom of speech.
Yep.
Press, religion, assembly, and petition.
Yep.
This thing goes by fast.
Does it?
Here, let's.
Stop it.
There's a second one.
Yeah, firearms. The British are coming.
This thing didn't even pause. So the third. So the military cannot come into your house and take over it.
Now they call police now. I think.
No.
Search and sizes. Warrant.
What's up, big movie fan?
I've seen you at West Side. Please in fifth. That's true. Most important.
Exactly.
You know,
What's up, David? Oh shit, where are we at? Because I skipped it. Oh, we're on number 6 and 7. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can have a partial jury. Also have lawyers. See, and the lawyers don't work for them, so that's a lie. I ain't no snitch fool. The 7th, I think it's the 8th. They can't. They have to give you bail. They have to. It has to be reasonable. So, like, River should have bail, and it should be in a reasonable amount.
But it depends, I think, no?
It still has to be reasonable. We're gonna let a 17-year-old that slices windows and shit out, but we have River in jail because he pepper sprayed somebody. Like, that's stupid. And then he can't even get bail. That's stupid.
Age.
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter if he's creating violence. Then he should be in jail whether he's 17 or not, right?
I know, but I know.
Oh, did you guys hear about the guy in Louisiana that's getting castrated?
No.
Yeah, he did an SA on a 14-year-old, and they are sentencing him for 50 years, and he's also getting castrated, which in other words just meaning he's getting his nuts cut off. Basically what they do when they spade and neuter a dog or a cat.
Oh, you guys want to know why you guys not members anymore? Because I cancel my monetization, because I'm tired of the BS of YouTube.
Hey, do I get my money back?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just kidding. I don't need it.
No. They give me refunds anyhow. It says
They do or they don't?
They do.
Oh,
They're posted.
I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about it. I will sub to you every day in the week. So
it goes to Google.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, it's Google money.
Yeah, go. You know, Google Play. It tells you. You know.
Well, mine's is coming up to renew anyways pretty soon, so I'm not really worried about it.
Yeah, because I'm tired of the BS of YouTube. That's why I said fuck the monetize. That's why I have my Cash App on my PayPal. You know. I was better off without monetization. You remember?
I told you, and everybody wants to get monetized, and I want the little pennies that YouTube is going to give you. You're going to have to slave for YouTube to get money off of YouTube.
I just tried for a while. It's only peanuts.
Yeah, exactly. There's your 27th.
The Constitution 101. Oh.
Yeah, I didn't. Thanks.
I was going to pay this video, but I wasn't sure, you know?
Yeah. I mean, we don't have to pay it.
No.
That was my videos, but
open the volume. It's no music. He's talking about it.
So far. Second, Article 5 gives the states a way to work around Congress. If Congress refuses to act on proposals for constitutional reform, state legislatures have the power under Article 5 to force Congress to call a convention for proposing amendments whenever the legislatures of 2/3 of the several states apply for one. So that's the proposal phase. What about the ratification phase? Article 5 sets out 2 pathways for ratifying a new constitutional amendment, and Congress gets to choose which pathway to use.
Where's Hey Honey?
Amendments can be ratified by the legislatures of 3/4
Yeah,
of the
she is
states,
sleeping. It's
or
late.
by specially elected ratifying conventions in 3/4 of the states.
After this, I'm going to go.
Congress has chosen state legislatures for the ratification of all but one of our
All right, this
amendments. We
is
use state conventions for the
23 minutes.
Amendment, which
Yeah, okay.
repealed the Prohibition Amendment.
Okay.
All right, now we're going to walk through all 27 amendments. And we're going to talk about 4 different periods of constitutional reform. We'll begin with the founding era, which gave us our first 12 amendments, including the Bill of Rights. Then we'll talk about the period after the Civil War, known as Reconstruction, which gave us the 3 constitutional amendments that some call our nation's second founding. Then we'll talk about the Progressive Era in the early 1900s, which gave us amendments 16 through 19. And we'll end up with a modern era, which added the remaining 8 amendments between 1933 and 1992. Let's begin with the founding era. The founding generation added almost 12 amendments in less than 2 decades, and 10 of them, known as the Bill of Rights, were proposed by the first Congress in 1789 and ratified very soon after in 1791. The Bill of Rights begins with freedom of conscience, which is protected by the First Amendment. And the First Amendment protects 5 freedoms: religion, speech, press, assembly, and petition. Religion protects religious liberty in 2 ways. It guards against government establishments of religion, and it protects the free exercise of religion. Those are the core of the rights of conscience: the right to believe or not to believe as we wish, the right to think as we will and speak as we think, as Thomas Jefferson so memorably said. Then we come to speech and press, and government can't fine, jail, or punish people based on what they write or say. And in fact, government cannot restrict speech unless it's intended to and likely to cause imminent violence. That extraordinarily protective test for free speech comes from a Supreme Court case called the Brandenburg case, and it makes America the most speech protective country
versus
in
Ohio.
the world.
Damn, I should be right
now. There are certain contexts where the government can regulate speech, like defamation or in public schools. But broadly, the test, and it's important to remember, is the government can't restrict speech unless it's intended to and likely to cause violence. Then we come to assembly and petition. And throughout American history, the right of dissent has been crucial. Of course, it was dissent.
That's a big problem.
The American Revolution and that famous speech of James Otis, denouncing the writs of assistance that we talked about a while ago, and the rights of dissent, including petition and assembly, are protected by the First Amendment. Now we come to the military amendments, which include the Second and Third Amendments. The Second Amendment was crucial to responding to early.
What's that?
I didn't know that there were military rights. I didn't know that.
Yeah, because the second one protects us. Well, the second one basically protects the first one. The third one is where they can't come into your business. They can't come into your home and take over it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And that's what they're asking for right now, from what I hear. They're asking people, I believe on the East Coast, to open their homes to these military men that are coming from these other countries.
No.
Which I would never do. I'm not going to do that. They're not, and especially coming from another country, they're not going to kill me in my home and then take over it. They got me effed up on that one. And they better not come to the door, because you might get shot through the door.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying.
Early concerns about standing armies and the importance of rooting the community's safety in citizen-led militias. The Supreme Court's recent decisions in the Heller and McDonald case emphasize that the Second Amendment also grants an individual right to keep and bear arms, subject to reasonable regulations. Then we come to the Third Amendment, which was crucial in saying that you can't be forced by the government to house soldiers in our homes in times of peace. This grew out of the British experience of the Quartering Acts of 1774. The founding generation saw these British abuses as tyrannical and saw this act as invading the sanctity of private property and of the home. Now we come to the Privacy and Property Amendments, protected by the Fourth and Fifth Amendments. The Fourth Amendment can be broken down into two big clauses. First, it says that the right of the people to be secure in our persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated. And second, it says that there's a warrant exception, and so that no warrants can issue except with probable cause, particularly specifying the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. The big idea is that before the government can search your home or seize your property or effects, it needs a good reason, as well as particularized suspicion. Now we come to the property protections of the Fifth Amendment, and that's the Takings Clause, which is connected to the founding generation's commitment to property rights. The Takings Clause of the Fifth Amendment protects private property from being taken by the government for public use without just compensation. And it means that if the government wants to take your property, it has to be for public use, and the government has to pay you a fair price for it. Now we come to fair process jury rights and the rights of the accused, and these include parts of the Fifth, Sixth, Seventh, and Eighth Amendments. Let's begin with the rest of the Fifth Amendment, which grants rights to criminal defendants, including the right to remain silent and the right against self-incrimination. You know that from the Miranda warnings, you have the right to remain silent, or you can also plead the Fifth if you fear self-incrimination. The Fifth Amendment also guarantees you a right against double jeopardy. You can't be twice tried for the same offense. You have a right to a grand jury for capital crimes, and you have the right to due process of law. That's central guarantee that the government cannot deprive anyone of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. Then we come to the Sixth Amendment, which grants even more rights to criminal defendants. There's a right to a jury trial in criminal cases, a right to counsel, Remember, if you're being interrogated by the police, say the magic words, "I want a lawyer," and you get one, according to the Sixth Amendment. You also have the right under the Sixth Amendment to a speedy and public trial. You have a right to an impartial jury, the right to be informed of what crime the government is charging against you. There's the Confrontation Clause, which grants you a right to cross-examine witnesses against you in person. And there's the right to compulsory process for witnesses. The court can order someone to appear in court as a witness for the defense. If you do go to trial, you get all of these rights guaranteed by the Sixth Amendment. But it's important to remember that most criminal cases in the United States do not go to trial. They're settled by plea bargains. Then we come to the Seventh Amendment, which protects the right to a jury trial in civil, that's non-criminal cases. And this responded to a key concern of the anti-federalists that the original Constitution only protected the right to trial by jury in criminal cases, and many states didn't protect them for civil cases. And then we come to the Eighth Amendment, which protects the right against cruel and unusual punishment, excessive bail, and excessive fines. It's rooted in the English Bill of Rights and also in the Virginia Declaration of Rights, drafted by George Mason, that famous anti-federalist who worried that a new and powerful national government would simply invent new crimes to oppress the American people. Then we come to the Popular Sovereignty Amendments, the Ninth and 10th Amendments. The Ninth Amendment has been interpreted by many to recognize the existence of natural rights that come from God or nature, not from government. It says that the enumeration of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. That retained by the people means retained when you move from the state of nature into civil society. And the Ninth Amendment is designed to respond to James Madison's concern that if you listed certain rights in a Bill of Rights, people might wrongly assume that if a right wasn't written down, it wasn't protected. So the Ninth Amendment says, don't do that. Don't interpret the Bill of Rights to be an exhaustive list. Our rights are so capacious because they come from God or nature. They inhere in us as human beings. They're not gifts of the government, that they can't be reduced to a single list. And then we come to the 10th Amendment, which reflects the Constitution's commitment to federalism, which is the balance of power between the national government and the states, and it's meant to protect the reserved powers of the states, saying that if a power isn't granted to the federal government, then it's retained by the states or the people. And that's why we can put the 9th and 10th Amendments together and call them the Popular Sovereignty Amendments. They recognize that the ultimate sovereignty, power in America, rests not in the federal government or in the states, but in the people themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the Bill of Rights. Now we come to the 11th Amendment. 4 years after the ratification of the Bill of Rights, the American people ratified the 11th Amendment in 1795, which bans the national courts from hearing certain lawsuits against the states. Scholars often refer to it as protecting the sovereign immunity of the states. And then we come to the 12th Amendment, which followed the extraordinarily contested election of 1800 between Thomas Jefferson and John Adams. You may know it from the musical Hamilton because it indirectly led to the duel that resulted in Hamilton's death. And after the chaos of the election of 1800, the 12th Amendment altered the Electoral College and addressed the central problem that led to such confusion in 1800. Under the original Constitution, electors cast ballots not for one presidential candidate, but for two, and the second place finisher became the vice president. The framers didn't expect there'd be national parties that nominated candidates and offered their own tickets for president and vice president, but political parties emerged in 1800. The Federalists, led by John Adams, the Democratic Republicans, led by Jefferson, and the two-vote system led to this serious political crisis where it was very hard to figure out the winner of the election. So following the election of 1800, we reformed the Electoral College, and the result was the 12th Amendment, which ensured that electors in the future would still cast two votes, but one of the two votes would be for president and the other one would be for vice president. Now we're going to fast forward to the Reconstruction era amendments. We have to fast forward 60 years because there weren't any constitutional amendments during that period.
Well, I didn't know that.
But after the Civil War, the bloodiest in American history, 23,000 died or wounded at Antietam. we ratified 3 transformative constitutional amendments,
Wow.
the 13th, 14th, and 15th amendments that began to fulfill the promise
Give
of the
everybody
Declaration of Independence that had been thwarted in the original Constitution, resurrected by Lincoln at Gettysburg and by Frederick Douglass, and inscribed into the Constitution after the Civil War. The 13th Amendment, ratified in 1865, abolished slavery. The 14th Amendment, ratified in 1868, inscribed the promise of freedom and equality into the Constitution. It made everyone born on American soil a U.S. citizen, overturning the Dred Scott decision. It promised equality or equal protection for all persons, as well as preventing states.
That also made us get our birth
person life,
certificate.
liberty, or property without due process. It
That's
also
what it gave us our birth
incorporated the
certificate.
Bill of Rights against the states and ensured that the states couldn't violate the fundamental freedoms like free speech and religious
But they still
freedom
violate it.
guaranteed in the original Bill of Rights.
That just makes sense.
And finally, we come to the 15th Amendment, ratified in 1870, which guaranteed the right to vote free of racial discrimination to all men.
50th Amendment, 1870.
And all 3 of these amendments gave the national government new powers to enforce their protections. Now, the second founding was not perfect. The promise of the Reconstruction Amendments was thwarted almost as soon as they were passed by white supremacy and violence, by racism and indifference,
Oh, yeah, I remember
by a
that.
desire for reconciliation between the North and the South, and by the U.S. Supreme Court, which in the slaughterhouse cases reduced the promise of the 14th Amendment to a nullity and ensured that it would take nearly a century of activism and courage,
Martin Luther
culminating
King
in
Jr.
Dr. King's speech on the Mall
Yep.
to begin to fulfill the promises enshrined in the Declaration of Independence and the Reconstruction Amendments.
If it
Then we come
wasn't
to the
born,
Progressive Era Amendments. Between 1913 and
the
1920, there were
era,
4
1913
amendments.
to 1920.
The 16th Amendment, which was ratified
Right, which we haven't even made it to the 60s yet.
I know. The 60th century, 1913. That's where Angel born, 1913.
Angel, you're old as shit.
in
Ah,
1913
well,
gave Congress the
how you
power to pass
doing?
an income tax.
Yeah, hi, Mark. Mark Nash TV, what's happening?
In fact, Congress had passed an income tax during the Civil War, but the Supreme Court struck it down. And after lots of activism following the Supreme Court's 1895 decision in the Pollock case,
True.
The 16th Amendment was proposed and ratified, and we've had a federal income tax ever since. Then we come to the 17th Amendment, which changed a very important structural feature of the original Constitution. The original Constitution gave the power to choose U.S. senators to state legislatures. The 17th Amendment gave that power directly to voters in each state and gives us the system we have today, where voters select their senators through
Our
the
life,
popular
what's up?
vote. The 18th Amendment is the Prohibition Amendment, which banned the manufacture, sale, or transportation of intoxicating liquors. It remained a live part of the Constitution for 13 years. Americans soon had second thoughts and repealed it. And that's why let's fast forward now to 1933 and the 21st Amendment, which is the only example in American history of a constitutional amendment repealing another one in its entirety.
Nice.
Here's the language from the amendment. It says the 18th article of amendment to the Constitution of the United States is hereby repealed. And that was ratified in 1913. All right, now we're going to go back to the 19th Amendment, which was ratified in 1920. An extremely important amendment which guaranteed the right to
1920.
vote free of gender discrimination and culminated nearly a century of activism on behalf of women's suffrage. The amendment followed decades of widespread experimentation in the states. Many states had extended the right to vote to women before the ratification of the 19th Amendment, but it would take many years and the hard work of the civil rights movement to make the promise of the 19th Amendment a reality and to extend the right to vote in practice to all women, including women of color. And finally, we come to the modern era, where we find the
1933,
remaining 8
1992.
amendments to the Constitution, which were added little by little between 1933 and 1992. So we start with the 20th Amendment, ratified in 1933, which reduced the length of time between the most recent set of national elections, and also changed when a new Congress and president take office. Before the 20th Amendment, the new president and the new Congress took office in March. The 20th Amendment shifted the startup date to January. It meant that you didn't have lame duck presidents who served for such a long time. Then the 22nd Amendment, which was ratified in 1951, limited a president to 2 terms in office. It resurrected the precedent set by President George Washington, who had stepped down after his 2 terms. That precedent held for 150 years until Franklin Roosevelt was elected 4 times in a row. And with the 22nd Amendment, the American people reestablished the Washington precedent and wrote it into the Constitution. The 23rd Amendment, ratified in 1961, guaranteed the District of Columbia 3 electoral votes. Before the amendment, DC residents couldn't vote for president or vice president. Now they can. And then we come to the 24th Amendment, ratified in 1964, which banned poll taxes in national elections, being forced to pay a tax when you vote. It also gave Congress the power to enforce the amendment through appropriate legislation. Southern states had long used poll taxes to keep African Americans from voting. And when the 24th Amendment was ratified, 5 states still had poll taxes on the books. The Supreme Court upheld the constitutionality of those laws as recently as 1937. The 24th Amendment said you can't do that. And 2 years later, the Supreme Court ruled that all poll taxes in national, state, and local elections were unconstitutional. Then we come to the 25th Amendment, ratified in 1967, which deals with presidential secession and incapacity. Not secession, succession. Secession is when a state secedes from the Union. The Civil War established you can't do that. Succession has to do with what happens when a president is incapacitated. And this amendment left open several issues that were not clear in the original Constitution. And it emerged as in response to new concerns about presidential incapacity after President Kennedy was assassinated in 1963, and President Eisenhower had also been ill. And the amendment established a procedure for what happens if the president is ill or incapacitated. Then we have the 26th Amendment, ratified in 1971. This is an amazing amendment because it was ratified in only 4 months after it was proposed, and it prevents states from discriminating against voters based on age if they're 18 years old. Before the 26th Amendment, most states still limited voting to 21 and older. The 26th Amendment is in part a response to the Vietnam War. And the basic idea is old enough to fight, old enough to vote. And Congress agreed with that, proposed the amendment in 1970. And the Supreme Court had ruled in the Oregon and Mitchell case that Congress could only lower the voting age for national elections, not state and local elections. So that's why the amendment was proposed by Congress, and it was ratified in only 4 months in March 1971. That's the shortest period for ratification ever. And finally, we've made it to the finish line, the 27th Amendment. And the amazing thing about the 27th Amendment is that it was written by James Madison and actually proposed as part of what became the original Bill of Rights. And it was taken over the finish line 200 years later by a passionate student who thought it wasn't fair that he'd gotten a bad grade on his homework. So here's what happened. The 27th Amendment prevents members of Congress from raising their own salaries until there's a new election. So basically a pay increase can't take effect until the beginning of a new Congress. It limits Congress's power to give itself a raise. It was first written in 1789 and proposed as part of the original Bill of Rights. Congress initially proposed 12 amendments, and what became the 27th Amendment, the pay raise amendment, was the original Second Amendment. But it fell short after it was proposed of the 3/4 of the states necessary to ratify it. So it didn't become part of the Constitution along with the rest of the Bill of Rights. The states then basically ignored it for decades. Every now and then another state would vote to ratify it. But fast forward to 1982, the proposed amendment looked dead. Very few states had ratified it. Then Gregory Watson, who was a sophomore at the University of Texas, got a homework assignment he was doing his research. He found a chapter in a book that listed amendments that hadn't been ratified, and he chose to write his paper about the original Second Amendment, which became the 27th Amendment. And his central argument was that the proposal didn't have a time limit on it, and Article 5 doesn't have a time limit either, so the amendment could still be ratified nearly 200 years later. So Gregory Watson somehow got a C on his paper. He appealed the grade, the professor wouldn't change it. So Watson decided to appeal to his fellow citizens, and he wrote letters to state legislators across the country. Many of them ignored him, but one senator loved the idea. That was Senator William Cohn of Maine, who pushed for ratification in Maine and succeeded in 1983. This inspired Watson to keep pushing ahead, and from there, amendment push gained momentum. There was broader dissatisfaction with Congress in the 1980s, where voters thought that Congress wasn't doing enough to help the American people. So in 1985, 5 more states ratified the amendment. And then finally in 1992, over 2 centuries after the first Congress proposed the amendment, 3/4 of the states had ratified it, and the 27th Amendment became part of the Constitution. And now we have walked through all 27 amendments.
And Truth said there's actually 29.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's 2 more amendments that have been added since this video.
Yeah. I got fun then later on. You guys, thank you for coming, and we'll end this. You guys, thanks for coming. If you guys missed the live or the other video, you go back and that video, the live is not rested. You have to go to my channel to look at that rest of the video.
Yes, which I'm ending it on my side. So thank you guys for coming in. Thanks, Rico.
Thank you. You guys, you take it easy. Thank you for coming.